So this one is going to be a little interesting, and this video is actually about how I repaired my tight junctions faster than the gut dysbiosis that I have could damage them, which is insane, by the way, because to do that is absolutely insane. And not only that, I actually have tests to prove this, but there are some a little bit important things that I do want to talk about before I talk about this, and it's just a little bit of understanding the microbiome. So the microbiome of the gut can dictate a lot of things. And just to give you some examples, I haven't actually fully mentioned these in my Real Nutrition Science playlist video, or the playlist under my homepage. But what do I mean? Well, the gut microbiome can influence a lot of things like depression, I've noticed. It can also influence literally cravings. And that's why you will get certain cravings, even sometimes 6 months in on carnivore, or even longer sometimes. And this has to do with the fact that some bacteria can go into stasis, and when they go into stasis, they basically don't really die, but they don't do anything. And then they can come out of stasis, and then suddenly, if they're in your stomach, for instance, like in your gut or whatever, then, oh, lo and behold, now you have problems, because now you start feeling these extreme carb cravings that you never had before, right? Yeah, this could literally be why. Because what you're doing is eventually you go on carnivore, and then you starve them out basically, and then they go, oh, okay, I'll go into stasis. They go into stasis for a certain period of time, and then suddenly they come back and there's this giant craving. Now, this is usually why you would want to be transitioning slowly on carnivore, and why I recommend transitioning slowly, as well as, for that matter, the damage that they can cause. That's also not ideal. Now, this is the part in the video where I will say, this stuff is going to get crazy, and I even show it in my GI map results. I find that part is probably the craziest part. The fact that this is actually shown in my GI map results, I think that is absolutely absurd. Now, I'll put it up on screen so you can see. Now, there are a couple of important things about it. There's an E. coli there, as you can see. I think I memorized a decent amount of it. There's an E. coli there that's basically causing the damage of the tight junctions. And then there's also some other things that are a little bit on the higher end, as you can see, and you'll see them with like red arrows, or they're basically just all in red, and it's like, oh yeah, that's no bueno. But there are two other things that are especially important. Now, one, there is secretory IgA that is through the roof. That is extremely high. Now, you might say, what does that mean? What does that GI map result mean? What it means is the fact that I have recently been fighting something, whatever it is, don't know what it is, in my gut. Now, that basically means like there's been an immune reaction occurring, and I've been fighting something off. It's sort of like an immune response. Now, that's a big deal, because that could mean I recently got rid of a parasite, or it could mean that I am healing my gut dysbiosis. And there's, man, this one's a little crazy. When it comes to my gut and how I've done this, now you might say, if you know how to read this a little bit, you would see that this E. coli stuff should be causing damage to zonulin. More specifically, that zonulin thing should be out of range, meaning in the bad range, right? But it's not in the bad range. It's in the good range. That means that the tight junctions, that's actually healthy. But the gut dysbiosis should say that should all be unhealthy. Now, why is that? Now, the reason is because once again, I'm going to say this over and over and over again. Even the doctor, for that matter, that I talked with, who's I think a keto or carnivore doctor, also found this pretty absurd.
I'm amazed. I wasn't because the fact is, Cerule, I wasn't expecting. Oh, okay. Anyways, I'll just go.
Yeah, so the confounder is, like we were talking about, the confounder is, we don't know where you were a couple months ago. So interestingly enough, if the Cerule is definitely benefiting, so what we're seeing that's unusual with your GI map is that we're seeing the zonulin is in the normal range, which is our measure for leaky gut, but the calprotectin, which is a measure of inflammation in the gut lining, is elevated. usually I see those both elevate at the same time because it's an ongoing inflammation. And then your secretory IgA is really high, meaning your body is fighting off something. So when you're fighting off something, then your calprotectin goes up. But it is possible that if had we have checked it before, that your zonulin would have been high based on what we're seeing, like our suspicion of the leaky gut stuff is that you have leaky gut and your triglycerides leak across the gut lining, and then they absorb into your bloodstream and your triglycerides go high because, like we discussed before, highly unusual for carnivores to have a high triglyceride. Generally, they're in the 50 or 60 range. And so we've already seen your triglycerides come down. So that's a measure to me that your gut lining was probably improving already at that point, right? So now we're going to try adding in a couple things to knock down the bad bacteria that are kind of overgrowing, and then healing the gut lining a little bit more with some butyrate, and then trying the adding in some good polyphenol that will help boost up your good microbiome.
Yeah, that was
So
pretty. That was pretty interesting. It from what I understand. Oh man, the camera turned off. It's fine. So it gets out of battery. So from what I understand, it seems as if that mixing carnivore and cerule managed to heal, or at least heal the tight junctions because the zonulin got lower, but it didn't seem to heal the bacterial problem, which is the inflammatory problem, and that's basically the underlying thing causing all of this inflammation in the first place.
yeah, and the other thing that's surprising too, had I've just with the elevated inflammatory markers, uh really honestly what I was expecting to see is parasites being positive, right? Because with all the travel you've done around the world, all the symptoms you've had, being healthy otherwise, you go, man, I bet you picked up a bug. And it's possible that you just fought something off already. That could have been that you
Yeah,
fought
that's what
something
I was
off.
gonna ask you actually. I was
That's a
wondering.
possibility because if you starve these guys out, like things like candida and some of these other bugs, if you don't feed them sugar, they kind of die off, and you get this die-off symptoms sometimes, like rashes and asthma and hives and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's hard to say, but it's definitely looks like your gut's healing, and that's exciting. Plus, your symptoms are better. And the other thing that we don't know, and it's one of the things we look at on the GI map, is looking for the gluten sensitivity stuff. And yours is negative for gluten sensitivity, but you don't eat any gluten. So I can't really tell. So if you had just ate, if you were eating gluten and we saw that number really high, then we know, oh yeah, you're sensitive to that. You got to cut that out. So you already naturally cut that out. So I don't know. That could have been a contributing factor before, but and the other thing is that is a common thing that we talk about is lectins that can cause from some fruits and vegetables that can cause gut inflammation and gut damage and leaky gut and all that stuff. So some people on a carnivore diet just feel better just cutting that out. And they know right
Yeah.
away and they go, I feel better. Like you're feeling better. But it could be from that also. So it's hard because we have so many confounders, but you're getting better. So who cares? Like we don't really have to know as long as you're getting better. And I would love to hear what your followers have to say if they went carnivore and their triglycerides went super high, if they got checked for leaky gut. Because for me, like besides yours, 100% that I've seen that it's leaky gut where the triglycerides go up in carnivore. Like yours is one I think it was, and we would have seen it, but you had to confound my stuff by taking this cerule and maybe fixing it already by the time we looked for it. Had we have
Yeah.
checked 3 months ago, we would know for a fact that that's why. And we've seen your triglycerides come down, so that indicates that if you did have leaky gut, which I suspect, it's getting better.
Yeah. That's kind of crazy to think. It's just, I don't know. To me, it's crazy to think that Cerule is the thing that did this because I was originally taking Cerule not even necessarily for the gut. I was originally it was actually just for like seeing if it could heal my acne quicker.
Well, if
But
you heal your gut, you heal your acne a lot of times because all those
yeah.
toxins you're absorbing, your body's trying to get rid of them. And so a lot of times that's a sign. Acne, eczema, like skin rashes, things like that, and asthma, because your body's trying to breathe out, or even menstrual irregularities in females. So yeah, it's all kind of intriguing when you see go, gosh. And I've had several people. I've used probiotic, and one is called Seed, and I have several people, women, whose acne went away when they started a good probiotic. So I think it's just missed a lot. And they always say, well, you're around, but really, if you're eating bad food and it's messing up your gut microbiome and it's messing up your gut lining, it makes sense that that's what would be a contributing factor for you know acne and eczema and all that kind of stuff.
And it's Cerule. Now, the stuff is literally better than prescription drugs. Like, in my experience, as you can see, it literally is healing the gut damage. Okay, let's look at my previous results to show that my gut lining was damaged. Basically, you can see that my triglycerides were high in this video. If you're really interested in all the details behind that, go check out that video. You can see my triglycerides were extremely high, and yet only after, and I really do mean only after about a week, I would say, probably a week of taking Cerule, my tight junctions somehow managed to be healed. And as you can see, the triglycerides number is lower in that video. That's insane. That's ridiculously insane. And here it shows the proof, because this is the proof. If the zonulin was still in the unhealthy range, that means that my blood tests should show that the triglycerides are unhealthy again, that they're in the unhealthy range. But they're in the healthy range. So what's going on? Exactly. So I think one of the things that Cerule might have done is actually it might have helped me get rid of a parasite. It could have also just been healing the tight junctions faster than they were being damaged. There's plenty of things, but it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. So yeah, I know it's pretty crazy. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you found it interesting. There's a lot of pretty crazy things, honestly. I was not expecting Cerule to work this well, but it does. So here we are. Thanks for watching. If you found the video helpful or informative, please like, share, subscribe, comment down below. And if you want to, by the way, join our Discord server. I have a Discord server, and if you want to meet any like-minded people, like you, for instance, there's like, I think 100+ people in there so far, then go click the link down below. Link is in the description. Yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.